interdimensional kind. You enter a realm of spirit, of sight and sound and mind. Your radio is a cosmic doorway and your psyche begins to spark. When you tune in to Gary Anderson and Night Dreams After Dark.
Coming to you from some far point station, like a cosmic tumbleweed, both north and south of the Pleiades. Here's your host, Gary Anderson.
And that is me. I'll tell you, that's pretty much accurate on our weather here. Down at the compound, down at the harbor, down here where I live, down here where there's no snakes, thank God. Anyway, I can tell you one thing, a python. They're all over that place in Florida. I tell you what, that and alligators. Who would want to retire there?
Yeah, well, yeah, you got to be on the guard all the time. You know, it's a shame because over the years, because it is a tropical climate down there, and these boas and pythons, that's where they come from. So when all these hurricanes that come through have set them free, and people, you know, throw them away, they don't want them no more. And now you have a living, breeding species of all different kinds of pythons and stuff in the Everglades and all through Florida. And it's dangerous. People are losing their pets. Or you got to be careful. I mean, there's been pictures of them that have swallowed alligators.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, they're right.
Yeah, that makes if alligators, you know. Hey, it just reminds me I should take my ex-wife down to Florida.
Well,
she likes sleeping a lot. She could sleep 12, 13 hours a day. I'll just leave. I'll get a motel next to the Everglades and leave the door and windows open.
Yeah. Well, is this the one that had you came home with the Ouija session going on?
Yeah, the witch. Not the one that starts very similar to that, but no, the witch.
Oh, boy. Jeez. I'm not even going to touch that one.
Please don't. Everybody else did.
Oh boy. Yeah, there's a lot of pythons down. Well, maybe you should recommend going to that restaurant in Florida. it sounds like that would be a place to sit down.
No, that's not a place. That's a place now you don't even want to stand. But you know what? I mean, think about it. There's been a lot of strange things going on, and I blame it on earth changes. A couple of weeks ago, I talked about they found a piranha in a lake in Canada, which when the authorities got there, they couldn't understand why it was still living. And I think what's happening is some of these species are starting to adapt, and they're not dying off. Could you imagine? And then what they did is they had to put a certain poison and kill the fish in that lake to make sure that there was no more piranhas. But could you imagine if those type of creatures kind of involved over a year, and people go swimming in the lake the next year? Could you imagine what could happen? Because I don't know how many piranhas I don't know how many was released there, if it was one or two, but if they mated or whatever, how they, give offsprings, it could be really a horror case.
It could be. And, another place, maybe not Canada, but Alaska anyway, they had those other kind of invasive species, lampreys. They kind of like bite onto fish, and they just like suck the blood out of them. And that was not, as a matter of fact, there was some swimmers that they attached to, and it freaked them out real bad. And that was 2 or 3 years ago. That would be kind of traumatizing too. You're swimming in Alaska waters, and something attaches to you, and you feel these teeth, and it's sucking the blood out of you. That would be ugh. But yeah, these invasive species, even here near where I'm at, Pennsylvania, Ohio. Well, I don't think Ohio, but neighboring state. These snakeheads, and they're invasive species that come from the Orient, and people let them loose here, and they eat anything, and they live out of water for 2-3 hours at a time.
Well, actually, I was reading that if it's the same one, they can actually live out of the water permanently too. I mean, they're totally land livable. Could you imagine? I mean, and looking at the picture, I'll tell you what, they're terrifying.
They are that, and they've been known to attack humans from like they'll lay their beds and eggs. You get too close, a 3-foot one, they're all muscle. They'll take a heck of a bite out of you. They got a big old mouth full of teeth. And there's been a few people been attacked by them. They can't kill you, but I'll tell you, sure give you nightmares. That's for sure. And they can cause some damage, but yeah, they're awful. These things, and it's what happens, and it throws the local environment out of whack. And again, some of these earth changes. Even bullhead sharks have been found way up the Mississippi, all the way up to Illinois.
Well, I think too. I mean, whales and everything. It's weird. Like humpback whales. I was reading an article. Like, where are they gone to? Like they're disappearing. It's strange. A lot of this is going on because of earth changes. But again, Alaska breaking temperatures in certain parts of Alaska, 97 degrees. Areas in Alaska that have not had. They've been frozen under and had snow for decades and decades and decades. This past summer, it all melted away, and it's scary what's all going on there. We got Alaska doing its thing. We got Antarctica. And this week, remember one of your news reports on Friday that Canada is going to have be one of the coldest spots in this country? I mean, and then you got the UK, which they're claiming, the weather forecast for the UK is claiming that England's going to have the coldest winter in the last 100 and some years.
Absolutely. And, again, I seen today they're definitely, Canada's in trouble. They're going to get some stuff that, it's going to be colder in Canada than the North Pole and the Arctic. And, another thing with a lot of these weather changes in different parts of the world, when it's warmer, when they have a real warm winter, it doesn't kill off certain insects like mosquitoes. So now they're overabundance of these things, and then that means more diseases, more chances of getting these diseases, more new diseases that these mosquitoes are carrying. So it's definitely an open door for new diseases and plagues and misery.
Well, yeah, just look what's going on with China. I mean, the plague there, it's reported. I mean, we thought like the plague, that particular plague was gone for the last 100 and some years. But it's not just in China. It's been surfacing off and on all over the world.
Right, and a lot of people think it's rats. It's really not the rats; it's the fleas that carry it. But the fleas that are usually they're on rats. And that's why they mention it, because when drought season and all that, you got a lot more rats, which means a lot more fleas, and the fleas are the ones that carry these diseases, and the fleas bite you, and then you're infected.
Yeah. Hey, a big shout out to Karen Banks. I hope you feel better, kid. You need to take some good vitamins and drink tea. Tea is a cure-all for everything. But, I'm telling you, the earth changes is getting scary, and people are still in denial. But, the diseases is going to start happening. Also in the news, and I'm surprised you didn't catch it. The rainforest, Amazon rainforest, has been burning up and disappearing at record speed every day. A huge chunk of it is disappearing. They're finding the huge snakes, 20, 30 foot long snakes that have been barbecued because they try to get away from the fire, but naturally they have no chance to get away. But I mean, they were shocked at how many of these huge snakes have been, burned up.
Yeah, I seen the same thing, but I think it was in the Orient. There was a big fires, and they seen pictures of these big snakes. But I still have some other news reports coming, Mr. Gary.
Well, I was reading about the one on Amazon. Which one in the Orient? Where was that one at?
I can't remember the fire. There was a big fire there, and there was pictures. It was the last few days, and it showed a couple of big snakes, like pythons or boas or whatever they got going on over there, that were like fried because of they couldn't get away from the fires, and it's terrible, but it happens. That's just one species. Imagine all the other species that we're losing because of it. Plus, on top of that, you're losing all that forestry, all that vegetation that helps put out oxygen and takes away carbon dioxide.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. I don't know. And why did you have to sit there and mention about rats? I actually now put rats on a scale of 1 to 10. I put them at 5 because you know what? If a rat can learn to drive a car, I'm talking a scaled car to fit their body, and they don't even have to be rewarded. Once they learn, what I read, even more came up from what I talked about here about a week ago. They love driving. I mean, that's what all they want to do. They want to get in the car and just drive around the obstacle course, and they're content. But they do come out with the road rage, just like humans do. So if they bump into another car, you got the two rats getting out of the car and fighting over it.
Yeah, didn't you ever watch Tom and Jerry when, Jerry was driving that car and Tom would mess him up and Jerry whip his butt, but road rage, yeah. These crazy rats, I'm telling you, rats are, for as small an animal they are with the brain per capacity, they very intelligent, can learn quickly. Think about it like this. They have survived for millions of years, and there's a reason for that. They know how to adapt and overcome.
Well, can you, of all animals, I mean, to learn to drive a car, to get into it, right? To start it and steer it. I mean, the intelligence of a rat, that astounds me because you can't even do that with, many other type of animals. Even chimpanzees that have been trained to drive a car can't do as good as these rats. So, I guess, spending a couple $1 million doing a study to see if rats can learn to drive a car, it paid off, huh?
It sounds like it. Maybe they ought to hook up with those gerbils down there in Venezuela and get their little act together and form a united rat kingdom or something with driving and all kind of craziness they got going on with these studies.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised they didn't give them little miniature army tanks, that shoot out paintballs. They could have their little wars between the different clans of rats.
I'm telling you, rats are, I don't like them. I went to a house, it was years ago, and, the people, actually, they thought they had ghosts in their house. They was hearing things in the walls and stuff, in the cabinets. And I didn't really think there was nothing there. I didn't feel or sense anything. But I opened up the one cabinet, and I could hear it. And as I'm hearing it, this rat had broke through. It was eating or chewing or whatever it does to get through on the other side of the wall inside this cabinet. And when this rat came through, Gary, Actually, it was like a demon rat. This rat was angry. It was mad, and it wanted to attack. I tell you what, it wanted to attack. I shut the cabinet drawer real quick, and it tried to get out. And it was